I'm the Kaiju no Kami here at Colorado Anime Fest 2022 with
Cruellica Kain.
And we are interviewing
Emi Lo.
For people who might not know who you are, who are you?
I'm primarily a voice actor. My voiced characters, like probably most well known, is Suma from Demon Slayer, and also Rana from Higurashi, Hei from The Legend of Hei, Rinku from D4DJ, Kate from Shadow's House, etc. So yeah. I also do some directing on the side. A solo project was Geki Doll, which was for Funimation, and I also assistant direct for Funimation, now Crunchyroll. I assisted on Ranking of Kings, Restaurant to Another World Season 2, Shadow's House, The Saints' Magic Powers Omnipotent, Requiem of a Rose King, etc. So that's basically me.
A very big diversity.
Yeah.
So you do both voice acting and directing. Have you had to direct yourself voice acting?
I mean, I have recorded myself, but like it's whatever.
So, people didn't see this because we didn't record and I'm such a nerd. One thing that I was super excited about with you coming to our convention, because one, I love meeting people, and two, you're so passionate about diversity and inclusivity. And I think it's so important, especially now, because with different states doing crazy things, i.e. Florida, and just even sparking conversations in the last few years about voice acting with the potential, with the lack of diversity or the not knowing the diversity of the industry. And you're doing panels here, which I think are fantastic. You did a panel on AAPI, which is Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. And you're hosting a panel with another guest, Karen Strange, for LGBTQ+. And I think it's important, especially for many of our younger audiences, to know that there's representatives out there as well as voices to help the community be aware of that. What inspired you to get involved in that?
It was mostly that I felt like I was in a position where I could actually say something. Basically, so many people are scared to say things, and I had enough friends supporting me on it. Like, luckily I had people supporting me with it, that I was just like, you know, I just hated seeing people being attacked just for who they were.
Oh, yes.
I am a Pisces and I am an ENFP. I love things deeply. I may be jaded, but I still love people. So I just wanted to like do whatever I could. I'm not like the loudest person, but like I just try to like be concise and just say things like just how I feel and hope that people are listening, basically.
Well, I think it's important, just from my professional standpoint of what I do, because I actually work in what's called GD&I, Global Diversity and Inclusion, and we focus a lot on that just because it's not always the loudest person in the room that always gets noticed. It's the person who delivers that passion and honesty about it. And I thought it was great during opening ceremonies, which we'll be posting on our channel, so you'll get to see it all in live action. You had an opportunity just for your introduction talking about gender, that gender is gender, that people are people, and I really appreciated that. As I mentioned earlier off camera, I've always identified as bisexual, and being in a heterosexual relationship, people have always normalized it and said, well, that means nothing, you're not who you think you are because of that. And so having someone...
Hello.
I know. Hello, my love. So I appreciate that you even talked about that yourself with your own personal journey, just because it's nice to have representatives of any sort, just remind people that we're all different.
Yeah. Like I mentioned before, like I'm asexual, but I've been in a relationship with a guy for like almost 6 years at this point. We are actually going to be married in May like 5 days before our dating anniversary. So that will make 6 years. But yeah, so like people are like, but you're asexual. Like, how are you in a relationship? And it's like, we have a really, really great relationship, and I moved in with him like 6 months after we started dating.
Oh, wow.
So like we have been living together forever. He is like the most supportive person ever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I had like said I want to start voice acting, I want to move to Texas. He was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "Okay, let me find a job." And a few months later, we were in Dallas. So like I'm like. And like, so sex had nothing to do with that. Like,
no.
it's just like that connection that you have with a person, and it's like it doesn't matter who you have it with, as long as you find that connection with someone and you can support each other and you just want to build another person up. Like that's like the magical part of it. So like,
oh yeah,
it's just I just find the whole judging somebody based on who they end up with, like. Just defining someone based on that, I just find it just so shallow, and it's like you don't need that kind of label.
Well, and I think it's great to have that, especially in this modern age, because people are so nuanced still.
Yeah, totally.
And being able to have an open and honest conversation about it, I think, is valuable.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people ignore that.
Yes.
And actually, it was interesting because we had a conversation with one of our friends, and they even look at him weirdly, like, why are you with a bisexual person? Because what if she leaves you for a woman? And it's like, you have to have trust.
What if a straight person leaves their husband for another guy? Like, are you, like, what?
Well, I had, there was recently this article that they edited out from the new Fantastic Beasts movie, 6 Seconds of Dumbledore, in China. And one person was like, well, good, I'm sick of them throwing that agenda down my throat. And I'm like, well, do you complain about James Bond being heterosexual in every single James Bond movie?
Yeah, it's just, people are just scared of things that are different from them because they feel threatened. And it's like that balance of power thing. Mm-hmm. And that's why we just have to keep slowly pushing that they just get used to it.
My thing I always love to say to when someone goes off on that, I'm like, okay, how does what they choose to do affect your life personally? Yeah. And they're like, well, the Bible said. I'm like, no, I want to know what you personally.
The Bible also said don't mix threads. So your 50-50 cotton blend.
That's funny because that's one of the things my teacher back in college had did when we talked about arguments, and she went on why you can't use the Bible as your argument is because one person's like, yeah, but the Bible said, and she's like, stop. The Bible also says about cotton, what you just did. Also, what silks you can and cannot wear.
Right. And the way you have to do your hair, and like how you can eat, like seriously.
And she taught us that basically when you throw the Bible into your argument, you have lost the argument.
Yeah.
No, I think it's fascinating. And I don't want to just go on this completely deep topic. I find so much value in it, and knowing that there's public figures who are voices and advocates and allies and representatives, I think is so important, because people get so fixated on just like, oh, well, we have to be diverse. Do you actually mean that, or do you actually stand for it?
Yes.
So I think it's important to always see that. So I just, as a fan of your work, because one, I love Higurashi, and as a fan of just what you put out there in the world, I just want to say thank you, because we need more voices that do that. And I will say it's hard sometimes as a person who identifies as white, because I can only say so much since I've not experienced it.
Yes.
So I love to be that advocate and ally, but it's always nice when people feel comfortable, anybody feels comfortable standing up and speaking out.
Yeah. But like when you say like you don't know what you can do, but like honestly, just the fact that you have that kind of mindset is so helpful, because a lot of times when we talk about ourselves, so many other people are just like, oh, they're just whining. They just want more attention. So like when other people like stand up and also say, no, there's this thing going on. It like, it validates, it's so sad, but like that's what validates our argument.
Well, it's interesting because even as teaching, right, teaching nowadays, a lot of the students, like there's one girl in the 6th grade that I work with, she said that she she believes she's a lesbian and she fully identifies with it, and no one else in the class thinks anything different about her, because they're so used to it now compared to older kids that they don't have this mindset of, oh, I can't believe you did that. Whereas like 5 years ago, there was a kid who seemed very on one side, and some of the kids were like, dude, you need to get that out of your system.
Yeah, for sure.
It's changed so much, and I think what helps a lot is with the anime community in general. A lot of the anime community is so open-minded and very outside of that traditional box, and I think that has helped a lot because there's so much more representation, and I love it because I came from a very, very bad lifestyle. I won't get into it because that would be a long story for a different day, but I had to teach myself to appreciate diversity because that wasn't an experience I got myself. So that's why I'm so passionate about it, because having been on that other side of the coin of being raised in that world, I can't justify it because I know how much hate is there.
Yeah. You were talking about the anime community. Actually, one way I was able to discover myself as an agender is because I used to be very active in the cosplay community, and I would always gravitate towards the male characters and like the androgynous look. I was very into I still am very into Japanese fashion and like visual kei style and like just that androgynous look. And so like as I grew towards it, I was just like, you know, like that's just me. Like I love being able to just flip between the things and just like not put a label on anything and just exist. And like, so like, yeah, I really am grateful towards like cosplay and all that stuff for helping me and like for it being seen as so normal in that kind of community.
Actually, speaking of cosplay, I saw a lot of your cosplays on your Twitter. I tried to look at everybody's Twitter just to get to know someone. And you do a lot of cosplay. You're like, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. I'm not confident enough to do cosplay myself, but it was amazing. I was like, wow. And you have fun with it because I see some people at conventions that look at it like, well, I have to do it because I'm going to an anime convention. They kind of treat it like a job or a chore. And I just saw your excitement. What keeps you excited with it still? Because it is so much work at times.
I just love being able to tell the stories, you know, just to like, you know, it's like with acting. I can just be another person and just tell their story. I can put on those faces and it's like, it's just, I'm not me anymore. Like I can shed everything with makeup and like a wig and stuff like that. I'm just completely different. I can look crazy with a knife and it'll be totally fine or something like that. And like, you know, like with my Suma cosplay, like personally, I hate showing my chest or anything revealing. But with like Suma, I'm just like, yeah, I'll stick that Tengen plushie in my cleavage. It's fine. So like, I just like, it's very freeing to me. So like, it's just like another way to like, it's kind of stress relief too. It's stressful while I'm making the cosplay, but then it's really stress relieving when like I just am in front of the camera. And my fiance actually is my photographer for my actual photo shoots now. So it's just like, it's just, you know, it's fun. I did get caught in this. I used to do cosplay for industry during conventions and stuff like that, and that did get very tiring. And I learned that like just being able to do the photo shoots outside of the convention setting, just like being able to relax and do it at my pace, and just, you know, not care about who's watching me and stuff like that. That just like made it just was something that was mine. And so I just love the expression that goes with it.
Oh, absolutely.
What type of hobbies do you do outside of cosplay?
I love to play video games. I also play piano. I have a master's degree in classical piano.
Oh, wow.
So now it is a hobby, but before it was my career. And I did have to take a break from it after I graduated with my master's. But like, you know, now I'm just able to like go back to it and play some like video game music or classical music or whatever. I also really love urban exploration.
That's a new concept. I've never heard urban
So that's
exploration.
basically where you go explore ruins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love hiking to places and just exploring like abandoned buildings or like even like or like castle ruins and stuff like that. I used to do a lot more of it when I lived up on the East Coast, because there were just so many of abandoned insane asylums and all that stuff. I just love seeing it. Looks like it's frozen in time. Like a lot of the the insane asylums in particular, or there was this art building actually that was near where I lived that there were still binders of paper everywhere. It looked like it was it's so frozen in time, and you're just but the floor is falling apart. Everything is it's what is the story here?
Yeah, there was where I grew up in Buffalo, New York. There was an insane asylum that was just abandoned.
Yeah,
that was right next, right before the college that I would go to.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'd cut through there. It was this kind of Gothic style building that just looks so cool.
Yeah, it's so fascinating because so many of them, they were found out that they had a lot of malpractice, and they were sued, so they were shut down immediately.
Oh yes.
And they had to be evacuated immediately. So they didn't take any of the medical equipment out or anything. There's still the records and stuff, and you go in there and you can see how bad it was.
I never knew there was a term for that, because I just thought it was ghost hunting, because I love paranormal, so anything paranormal I would do. But I never heard of urban exploration. I'm so going to have to coin that term when I go to things like that.
Yeah, I love just going on Atlas Obscura and just searching ruins for an area, and it'll just come up with just a bunch of places, and they'll have the coordinates and everything, and you could just... It's so cool.
Get to meet Nathan Drake over here.
So what video games do you play? Just out of curiosity.
I love JRPGs.
Oh, I love JRPGs.
The Trails of series, Trails in the... not Trails of.
Tales.
I love the Trails series, which is Trails in the Sky, Trails of Cold Steel, that stuff. I love the Tales of series, which I'm obsessed with Tales of Symphonia and all the games after that. But that was the one that I played a ton, and also Tales of Destiny and Fantasia, and Abyss I played a lot of. I also love Suikoden. Final Fantasy, the usual stuff. Right now, my fiance and I are getting through Horizon Forbidden West.
That's what I'm playing.
It's so gorgeous. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm in San Francisco and then Vegas.
Yes, that's where we are right now because we just keep wandering so much.
That's what he does every time he goes into Vegas. He'd be like, Kelly, you have to come see this.
Yeah.
So I'm oh my god, it's so cool.
Yeah, we're on level 50 and so over leveled for the story.
Oh yeah, I'm maxed out, and
yeah,
I'm still supposed to reach this one area in San Francisco that I haven't gone to. But what social media links can people find you at?
Basically Twitter, Kitsune Squeak is my main one. I just mostly put stuff on there. It is mostly just pictures of my cat.
Yes, I did see your cat. I didn't talk about that because I would go on for cats all day. So.
Yeah, same. I mean, as you heard during opening ceremonies, I was like, please show me pictures of your cat. Actually, my pop socket is my cat.
Oh, that's so cute.
And then, any final words for our viewers?
Just thank you all for your support, and I hope that just being an ally really is just so important. Because honestly, what the companies and the people, they pay attention to the fans.
They do.
They pay so much more attention to the fans than they pay attention to us, because fortunately, we're replaceable. But the fans, they care about the audience a lot more. So if there's something you want to see and you talk about it and you just, in any way, or just even with your friends, it will spread. So just that is just so important and helpful. And just be a good person.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Until next time, bye.